Hi guys, it's editing me here. I thought I would pop up very quickly to bring your attention to something important before I proceed with today's episode. Yesterday, one of you brought to my attention something super important, and I feel the need to mention it as soon as possible. They told me that I never mentioned the hostages in my Free Palestine video from 2 weeks ago. Looking back, I genuinely cannot comprehend how I missed this. How I missed this absolutely significant part. So, I would like to apologize for this, and I would like to say that this was absolutely not intentional. But that doesn't excuse it. So if you're now to listen for the first time to that episode, or you're to re-listen it or whatever, please, when I say Free Palestine, just know that I am now in retrospect also making a note to go for the freeing of Palestinian hostages. I never meant to exclude those people, and I take accountability for this mistake. And I promise to be more mindful in the future. I am super thankful for this person for telling me this because it is totally unacceptable to overlook this aspect of the genocide. Please don't stop talking about Palestine and learn from each other as we are currently doing. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Hello guys, welcome back to Dirty Martini. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're having an amazing day. I think I ran over a snake with my car when I was coming home and I am so scared right now. I'm terrified of snakes, but that doesn't mean I want to kill them simply for crossing the road. So if the snake is listening, if I did kill you, I'm sorry. And if I didn't kill you, babe, look both ways when you cross the road. If you hear my dogs barking or birds chirping or my neighbors who are playing unreasonably loud radio, I apologize. I am currently on my balcony and I hope the acoustic is good. Does the outdoors even have acoustics? I am so not educated on the topic. But anyways, I'm currently on my balcony and I was just sunbathing because the weather is simply amazing. I mean, some would even say that it is a bit too hot because it's above 30 degrees. But as someone who wore her winter jacket last week in the Netherlands, I am enjoying the heat so much because I am leaving in a few days. And the thing is, it is currently pouring and storming where I live in the Netherlands, and I honestly don't even have a single drop of desire in my body to go back there now. I want to stay in Bulgaria. I want to be sunburned. I want to spray my dogs and myself with the hose to cool down. And I just want to lay on the floor because it is the only cold surface in my room because I don't have curtains. Now, not having curtains or shades or blinds or whatever you call them was my own interior design choice, which my mom is not super happy about, so I think while I'm gone, she will add them. The thing is, I didn't want them to cover the view from my window, but I do get her point with the sun burning my room and me alive in it. But anyways, I have been living in shorts and tank tops and I'm loving every single second of it. And to think that I will trade this for wind and rain in 72 hours is making me want to off myself. The Netherlands better step up with its summer, especially now when I'm expecting guests. In the wise words of Sabrina Carpenter, please don't embarrass me. Summer. I always thought I loved all seasons, and to a certain degree I do, but only when they're done properly. You know what I mean? Like, all the seasons are so pretty and have their beautiful sides, but who am I lying to? Late spring and early summer are simply superior. Especially considering the fact that in the Netherlands, I walk everywhere. Yeah, I know. Let that sink in. I don't have a bike, so I'm not having the full Dutch experience, but I just cannot bring myself to biking there. It is genuinely terrifying. As a pedestrian in the Netherlands, I am more terrified of the bikes than the cars. And I think that says a lot. So when I'm there, I really miss driving because I also don't have an umbrella. Now, don't ask me why I don't have an umbrella. My mom literally asks that question at least 3 times a week. But honestly, I don't think I've seen a single Dutch person use an umbrella in my 3 years in the Netherlands. So who am I to change the culture? You just suck it up and live through the rain. And also, don't ask me, why don't you use the bus? Well, why don't you mind your own business? Wow, I'm literally out here confronting myself and arguing with myself. Anyways, back to the seasons. Like, that's an easier topic. Like, I love the colorfulness of fall and I love the snow in winter, but I just thrive in the summer. The longer days, the warmth, the sun. I just thrive. And there is this really annoying fly which is circling around me right now. So if you hear it, I'm sorry. I don't know how to get rid of it. I'm in the outdoors. Babe, you have the entire world to yourself. Why are you sticking to me? They tell me it's not all about me, but what if it is? So the only downside of summer, apart from this fly, is that there's so many mosquitoes. And no matter how much repellent I use, they still seem to want me. So that's dedication. That is, you know what? Get yourself someone who wants you as much as mosquitoes want me. But apart from this, summer is just tasty. Although I can survive winters easier, to be honest, and like the cold in general, because when it is cold, you can put on more layers, but when it is scorching hot, at a certain point, there are no more layers to take off, and I genuinely feel like ripping my skin off my bones. Like, heat can be exhausting and sticky. I do recognize this, but also there is just something so slayful about it. Not talking about global warming, of course. Global warming is not slayful. Like, global warming should be slayed. But the regular summer heat is just, she's just a it girl. Although my body didn't fully agree with this at first, we had a little misunderstanding, to put it like this. Last week, I don't know if you remember, but last week on the episode, I went on this tangent that my skin will 100% clear up after I spend a few days here because of the good food and the good air quality. I think I really jinxed myself with that. because apparently the Dutch weather got so ingrained in my DNA at this point because the day after I arrived, I had such a terrible heat/sun rash all over my neck and face. And this is a first for me. Also, it could be the stress of writing my thesis that's contributing to this, but I'll tell you more about this later. But yeah, I just had this terrible allergic reaction and my skin got all red and bumpy and itchy, and that wasn't fun. And I didn't know what to do because I was at a wedding and I was drinking and I was feeling like I shouldn't be drinking and taking medicine because that's a recipe for disaster. But yeah, this is just the first time something like this has ever happened to me. So I just panicked. It lasted the first few days of my stay here. And it did get worse before it got better. But now it's gone, thank God. But I fear that some sort of reaction might also occur when I go back to the Netherlands and need to readapt to the cold. Because what if I have an allergic reaction to the cold as well? The least, which I'm almost certain will happen, is me getting sick. I don't mean to manifest this, but let's be real. I'm switching from 30 plus degrees to 12 on a good day. So yeah, getting sick is unfortunately almost certain. But I cannot afford to get sick because I have a friend visiting me, which I'm so excited about. I am literally landing and then picking her up from Amsterdam and then heading to mine. And she's the first friend to ever visit me there. So that is very exciting and I cannot wait. She's only staying the weekend and the weather is supposed to be absolutely terrible. This fly is bugging me so much, but the weather is supposed to be terrible. And this is making me honestly sad because I wanted to show her a few things which require us to be outdoors, but we'll see. So if Mother Nature could be so kind to postpone the storms by weekend, I would be so appreciative. Yeah, but my heat rash, which apparently everybody wants to hear about. So yeah, I tried to cover it up with makeup for the wedding I went to. And the thing is, I never wear makeup. Wait, before I say anything on the topic, let me just preface this by saying that what I will say about makeup does not come from pick-me-ness, but it comes from overwhelmness. Are those words actual words in the dictionary? No. But I think you get my point. I love makeup. I grew up watching Nikki tutorials and Jeffree Star and James Charles, and say what you want about the latter too, but they know makeup. The thing is, I have always admired makeup, but I just never got around to doing it. Please don't think that I'm a pick-me for what I'm about to say. It is just out of pure laziness. So yeah, I don't wear makeup because I'm super lazy with my looks, which I should most definitely change. And I most definitely want to change. But I have tried many times to pick up makeup. But the thing is, I don't have the skill. I don't have the talent. I don't have the gift of makeup. Makeup is an art. And I'm just not an artist. But I love other people's art. The first and last time I actually saw myself in full glam was for my prom. And honestly, I got scared. I couldn't recognize who I was. Whoever that was in the mirror, it wasn't me. I went to a makeup artist and she did an amazing job. And now looking back at the pictures, it does look good, but I think I just couldn't accept myself in the moment because it was so foreign to me. I don't think she fully took into consideration that me having never seen myself in makeup will influence the experience. But I mean, she did a great job. That is all on me. I'm not putting any blame on her. Like, the entire day, I just felt super self-conscious and wanted to hide, which isn't necessarily how I imagined my prom would go, but you know what? Maybe one day I will tell you my prom story. Let's just put it like this now. I wasn't obsessed with my dress. I wasn't obsessed with my hair. I wasn't obsessed with my makeup. But overall, I had such a fun time, which honestly, I think is all that matters at the end of the day. I don't think I would change anything about that day. If I could go back, because it gave me stories to tell and it gave me lessons to learn from. So if I could go back to that day and say something to that very insecure girl, it would be, nobody's looking at you, so don't even spend a millisecond think about the way you look. Just enjoy yourself. But yeah, after my prom, I just never returned to makeup. And I think it is because I didn't initially accept myself, because I didn't feel the confidence I expected to feel. And now, I initially wasn't planning on wearing makeup to the wedding simply because, I don't even own any makeup, but that allergic reaction kinda, it left me no choice, you know what I mean? But I just had to make use of my mom and my sister's makeup, and thank God we're all a similar shade, although I am definitely the most pale one, and I was so scared that I would look orange, but I think I made it work with concealer and color correctors. I don't even know what I did. I don't even know what I put on my face. The thing is, it worked. It looked good. So after this wedding, I can see myself wearing makeup every now and then, because now it did make me feel confident. But again, I'm super lazy. Also, makeup, and I mean, good makeup is so expensive. Nobody's talking about how crazy expensive makeup is. I know it is an investment, but damn. And taking off your makeup, especially when you're wearing mascara, God, that thing is a workout on its own. Nobody's out there giving credit to people who take off their makeup impeccably. So here I am doing it. You guys are absolute soldiers. My arms were dead after 2 minutes. So shout out to you. And shout out to everyone who listens, who loves and does makeup. I admire you so much. And I definitely want to be like you. I just don't know where to start. If you have any tips, let me know. I just feel lost, but I want to start. So when I do, please don't make fun of me if I don't do it correctly. Just teach me how to do it properly. It is this fear that has been stopping me from getting into the practical side of makeup instead of just admiring it. And I think it is time I put this aside. But that is a topic for another day. Guys, so let me tell you about the wedding. Just to recap, if you haven't listened to last week's episode, it was the first wedding I was ever invited to, and I flew in from the Netherlands to go to that wedding because I just desperately wanted to go. The thing is, as I've never been to a wedding, I just didn't know what to expect. I wasn't familiar with any of the rituals, any of the traditions. And apparently there are many, and every single thing in the Bulgarian wedding is symbolic and has to be done in a particular way. So that was super interesting to see and get familiar with. Like, getting familiar with my own culture when it comes to wedding is just so fulfilling. And I just had so much fun. I think if all weddings are like the one I went to, I could easily go to a wedding or two every single week. It was that good. But of course, I could go to weddings often, but just as a guest. Let me just mention this quickly. I don't want to be the one getting married, and I don't want to be part of the organization. I feel like that would be super stressful. All I want is to be invited and celebrate you without any of the pressure falling on me. Although for whatever reason, I was also super anxious for the couple that I barely slept the night before the wedding. What can I say? Empathy sometimes is your biggest enemy, so make sure to keep it to a healthy amount. But now back to the wedding. So we gathered around noon-ish, and the second I went to congratulate the groom's parents, who are my godparents, and I know my godmom is listening, so shout out. But yeah, the second I went to say hi, I just started crying. And so did they. All it took was for me to say hi, and the waterfalls were let loose. So we decorated the cars with balloons, and we headed to the hotel to pick up the best man and the maid of honor. Now the thing is, because, I already mentioned, everything is symbolic, everything is ritualistic, everything is traditional. So to pick them up, you have to first dance hugo. What is hugo? Hugo is a traditional Bulgarian dance, and there are probably hundreds of variations depending on where you're from and, of course, the music. So you have to pick up the best man and the maid of honor by dancing hugo to them when as you're accompanied by a live traditional Bulgarian orchestra. The thing is, I only know how to dance one particular hugo, and that's it. My skills are very limited. I am a hugo observer rather than a hugo dancer. Now, tell me why. The second the orchestra started playing the song, the groom decided to pull me to the very front and lead the dance because, you all dance hand in hand and just form a circle. And basically, everyone is watching the one who is leading the hugo and, just following their lead when it comes to the rhythm and the steps. And I had no rhythm and I didn't know the steps. And when the groom pulled me and put me in the lead, I told him that I don't know it, but he was just like, just dance. And I started looking at what steps he was doing, and I was imitating him. After the dance, which lasted very long, because, that's just how hugo works, he told me he was imitating my steps. So we were both actually imitating each other without any of us knowing what they're doing. So what I'm trying to say is I think we ended up coming up with a new hugo. And the thing is, everyone was doing our steps. And later I talked to my mom, who goes to Bulgarian dance classes. And she told me that that's not how you dance to that type of music. But it was a bit too late because everybody already had followed us and learned our steps. So until the end of the wedding, literally until 4 a.m., we were all dancing these hugo steps only. So what I'm trying to say is, that the groom and I lied to everyone, and if we did end up coming up with a new dance, I think we should get it patented. Like, we should get it trademarked. Honestly, what better wedding gift than coming up with your own contribution to Bulgarian culture? Duh. Then, after we picked up the best man and the maid of honor, we went to steal the bride. Damn, if I ever do get married, it would be so much easier to do it to someone from my culture, because how do I explain to someone that they have to break in and steal me, like kidnap me, and fill my shoes with a shit ton of money? That is a problem for future me. But the thing is, we have all those little quirks and traditions which make weddings so fun. And then we went back to the hotel where the couple got married by someone from the mayor's office. And oh my God, everyone cried. Like, it was such a beautiful moment. Why did nobody tell me that weddings are so emotional? The one time I wear makeup in my life, and then I cry and ruin everything. But it was so beautiful, and I feel so grateful that they allowed me to be a part of their special day. So even though I have been struggling a lot to comprehend the fact that everyone around me is in a serious relationship or is getting engaged and starting families, I won't be protesting it anymore if they throw parties like that one. Again, just don't get me involved with the organization. I will just be there, and that is all I can do for you. Guys, in 2 days, I need to submit my thesis. And I won't say all of this will soon be over, but the thing is, I have 2 more projects to do after my thesis. Which honestly makes no sense whatsoever. Like, isn't the biggest assignment of your entire degree supposed to be the last thing you do before graduation? Or, I don't know. And just having to do 2 more projects is not giving me the opportunity to enjoy the process of getting my thesis done. Like, I literally have no time to celebrate, no time to wind down, because I need to get going with the next thing. I honestly cannot begin to explain to you how terrible the entire thesis writing is making me feel. Just please play this back to me and remind me never to enroll for a bachelor's degree ever again if, God forbid, I decide to do something like this. I swear to God, this thing aged me 10 years, and at this point, no amount of under-eye cream can save me. I am so chronically exhausted that, you know what, forget everything I said about makeup just a minute ago. It is like I'm wearing purple eyeshadow, but under my eyes 24/7. And the thing is, I will not have the opportunity to sleep properly until 2 weeks from now, which is fun. Like, I want this to stop, and I want it to stop now. But the thing is, I don't have it in me anymore to work on this thesis. I just want it to magically write itself, and for me to just sign my name and call it a day. I am so looking forward to the day I submit it. I can already taste the load getting off my shoulders. And I'm actually spending so much time daydreaming about life after the thesis that I'm actually not writing the thesis to get to that time. And as I've already mentioned, if I mention it once, trust me, I will mention it 100 more times. The weather has been amazing here, and it's just making me want to sunbathe and never open an academic article or a textbook ever in my life again. I don't know if it's the same with you, but I want the weather to be terrible when I have to do so much things for university, because only then, only when it's raining and storming, can I justify being homebound and not feel like I'm wasting a beautiful day outside by being inside and studying. And I'm not saying that studying is a waste of time, by no means, like, girl, get that diploma. But in my head, it is like, as soon as the sun is out, I need to be out as well. And I need to walk around and enjoy just being alive. And that should be my constitutional right. And if I'm practically chained to my laptop, then I want it to be bad weather so that I don't feel as wasteful. Does that make sense? I don't know. Also, I realized that I have been mentioning my thesis for forever now. Like, I've been mentioning it constantly without actually telling you what it's all about. So, by the time you hear this, I will have already submitted it and probably gotten drunk literally the second I submit it. So, I feel comfortable sharing it now. I'm a very superstitious person, and I don't want to get jinxed before I submit it, but since I'll have already sent it, it doesn't matter anymore. What's done's done. I don't know if any of you even care, because whoever I have told my topic to definitely has been super disinterested, which honestly fair, but still, I'll let you in on my thesis topic. So I have decided to analyze this one Bulgarian series, which is called By Ganyo on His Way to Europe, which is by Ivan Nichev. And it is a very famous production with one of the most famous, even if not the most famous, Bulgarian male actors, Georgi Koyanchev. And it is a series from 1991, and basically it is an adaptation of the book By Ganyo by Aleko Konstantinov, who... So By Ganyo as a character represents a very, very particular type of Bulgarianness. He's just uncivil, to put it simply. And the plot is around him traveling around Europe and trying to sell rose oil. Maybe now is the time to brag that Bulgaria is the largest producer of rose oil globally, so slay. Anyways, the character, By Ganyo, he's very particular. And we study him in high school, and he's very complex in the sense that he's created to embody the Europe versus Bulgaria narrative and to portray Bulgarians as non-Europeans, as non-Europeanizable. Wow, look at what big words I use. Some might say I'm even writing a thesis on the topic. So I would advise you to look into it. It is a very interesting series, a very interesting book, and it's just an absolute classic. So what I'm analyzing, what I'm writing my thesis about, is how the series constructs the identity of By Ganyo and what it means about Bulgarian identity. And the reason I chose this is, first and foremost, because the character is super famous. He's not just a literary character or a movie character. And bringing something Bulgarian to the table is so meaningful to me. What I think is even more important is that he's part of the everyday life of Bulgarians. And especially, he's brought up around Bulgarians who go abroad, because we, abroad goers, supposedly act in a very By Ganyo and uncultured way. And naturally, this creates stereotypes. So I chose to do this topic because I wanted to analyze how stereotyping develops and what it means on a national and on a broader level. The thing is, I chose this for my BA thesis when this is actually absolutely a PhD worthy topic because the series is so complex and there is so much historical and social and cultural and political and economic contextualization that is needed. So I honestly don't feel like I'm doing the series the justice it deserves. I am merely scratching the surface, but it's kind of too late to change topics now. And honestly, better to introduce this as a topic in academia and get people interested in it, and maybe even prompt more research into background representation than, I don't know, neglecting it even further. So, also on a very personal level, I basically chose this topic because I have been facing a lot of discrimination as an Eastern European in Western Europe. And one day, when I have dealt with it properly, I will tell you all about this. And I have had people tell me, well, you're white. How dare you say that you're facing discrimination? And I by no means want to compare my experience to that of a non-white person, because the discrimination they face is systematic, and I don't feel, and I'm not actually in position to talk about their experience. However, as an Eastern European, there is this, how do you put it? Well, there's this internal European beef between the West and the East, where we as Easterns are basically the underdog and the non-European, and to some, not even existent. And this is something which I have been facing quite a lot recently, especially in my last year of the degree, which is quite surprising, to be honest. And I felt like my hands were tied and I couldn't do anything to change the narrative. And of course, I'm in no position to change the narrative, and I won't be able to change the narrative. But I still should talk about it because it is important. So I thought that the only suitable way to protest this discrimination right now is by dedicating my thesis to the topic, which honestly is why I care so much. And this adds another very significant level of stress. And because it is so personal, I just want to make it good. I want to write a good text, but the thing is, I simply cannot. What I have written so far has been the best I can do, but I know it is not the best I could do. Does that make sense? I just want to make myself proud with what I'm submitting. I don't care about the grade. I need a 5.5 to pass. And 5.5 is what I want. 5.5 is what I pray for. Everything above that is a luxury and a sweet little treat. But overall, I just want it to be good enough, but also I want it to be good. You know? I mean, do you know? Because I myself don't even know anymore. I promise you, I am not over-exaggerating when I say that for the last 2 weeks, my left eye has been twitching nonstop because of stress. The eyelid just feels heavy, and I don't know if it's visible to others, but to me, it feels like my eye is half closed. And let me just say, this isn't really fun nor safe when I'm driving. But I've just been stuck like this for 2 weeks, and I honestly am a bit worried if it will go back to normal after I finish the thesis, after all of this is over. Like, God, I really hope so. I really hope my eye fixes itself. And this stress response actually unlocked itself when I was still working at my previous job. And when it would get super busy and stressful, the manager would yell at everyone. And since then, every time I feel an overwhelming amount of stress, my eye just starts uncontrollably twitching. Also, I have not been sleeping properly, and I have been spending on average at least 16 hours a day in front of my laptop working on this, and I just want it to be over. Writing my thesis has made me want to reconnect with nature. Honestly, I swear I have forgotten what grass feels like. Writing my thesis has made me question how much I actually want this degree. It has made me question how much I want to be educated. Okay, I do realize that education is a privilege, and I'm trying not to take it for granted, but it is kind of hard not to hate every second of it when all it does is cause you an unbearable amount of stress. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that it is hard to enjoy the process of graduating, of working on something I'm passionate about, when the overall vibe is making me want to slit my wrists in front of the office of the person who assigned this, and basically I just want to watch them in the eyes as I bleed out. But that could just be me, I guess. So guys, I swear to God, yesterday I spent 6 hours just formatting. 6 hours. Who the hell has that time? Who cares about fonts, about indentations, about page numbering and tables of content? Can we please also cancel having to cite every single letter you use in a text, every single comma you put? I kid you not, I had to add an academic definition of what an opera is. An opera. Just let me live. And also, just trust me. Why would I lie to you? You making me back up every single thing. You wanting receipts about every single thing I write is making me question our relationship. Our relationship should be based on trust. Where did all the trust go? At this rate, I feel like they will ask me to APA 7 cite my own name. Imagine just writing Martina and in brackets, my parents, 2002. I'm all about giving credit where credit is due, but just let me be. You know me. I know you. I won't lie to you. I respect you too much to lie to you. And if I'm being really real with you, I honestly don't have the energy to lie to you. Also, another big thing I need to mention. Having to add roughly 30 images to a Word document made me want to jump off the window. Like, why is Word so dramatic? Every single time. Why does moving an image by 0.5 millimeter open 3 new tabs while also, adopting 7 dogs? God, I know I'm talking such nonsense. Who do I think I am, Sabrina Carpenter? Damn, I've been really shouting her out in this episode, so I guess Gulf Stream, please, 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 and Espresso, the song of the summer and the song of the year. Anyways, I'm genuinely having such difficult time trying to form proper sentences because the second I get out of the writing a thesis zone, I just want to never speak a word again. Do you know how much you have to hurt a yapper for them to want to be silent? And to think that I'm doing a pre-master and potentially a master, I am genuinely my biggest hater. Why would I do this to myself? Well, it's all for the plot, I guess. At least it will give me content for the podcast. I know that maybe in the future I will reminisce back on being in university because that's how nostalgia works. And my brain in particularly is pretty damn good in blocking out super traumatizing experiences and feelings, even though the triggers remain, but it blocks them out. Anyways, I just want to submit it. I just want to submit the thesis. I technically have a day less to work on it than everyone else because the day it is due, I will spend traveling roughly 16 hours, so I cannot do that while also stressing about my thesis. So, I don't know, guys. I think I should get back to writing it and getting it done in time instead of sitting around and complaining about it. I know I'm kind of rushing this right now here, but I'm honestly also in a hurry to graduate because if I have to sit in this stress for a single second more than necessary, I'm afraid for humanity. So I'm in a hurry to at least meet my deadline. Let's just put it like this. I can complain next week as well, which is probably what I will do. But I cannot submit it next week. I just want to complain in peace, so for me to do that, I need to finish it first. So wish me luck, guys, because I will definitely need it. That being said, thank you for listening. Stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, and don't support genocide. Bye!